Pause. So can you pause in that moment? Can you get to a place where you become so aware of what's about to happen? This is leveling up your awareness, that you can pause real quick before you just react. Remember, you just got put under a lot of pressure. Something she said triggered you. Something she said makes you want to flip over a couch. Hope to God you don't hit a woman, but you might say some stupid shit, right? So what's going on? My name is Nick Alfano. This is a solo episode of Feedback, and today we're going to get into that exact sentence, which is pressure exposes your program. And what I mean by that is basically anytime that you face pressure, whether it's like an extreme amount of pressure right now live in the situation, like life-threatening situation, that's pressure, or you might just be under chronic stress or chronic pressure, you are always going to revert to your programming. Again, your program is another word for your subconscious. It literally runs 95% of the game. And so if you want to get to the next level in whatever area, faith, family, fitness, or finance, or a combination thereof, the best thing you can do is understand your programming. Understand all of the ways in which your program either supports that destination that you're thinking about right now, or is in direct conflict with that destination. And a lot of people just float through life. We call it the drift. They literally are in this state where they're drifting through life, and then they wake up every year or every 3 years, or some don't wake up for 10 years, if ever, and all of a sudden they've kind of veered from what we call Destination Island, which is a place, which is a feeling, which is literally everything that you say that you want. They've gotten so far off track because, again, imagine a boat. They're literally in this drift, and they're letting the wind take their sails in a way that doesn't serve them. They're letting the current, dictate exactly where they go. These can be outside influences, but it really is their programming allowing them to drift. So that was a lot of marbles in the mouth, a lot of sentences. Just understand this concept. If we believe at our core that pressure exposes our default, right? Our default habits, our stories, our core beliefs, not what we say we believe, because that's our ego, not what we believe at a conscious level right here, the PFC, the prefrontal cortex, what we believe at our core, what has been programmed into us that runs 95% of the show, whether we believe it or not. Again, the human being makes how many decisions in a day? If you remember from any other episodes, over 30,000 decisions in one day. Now, obviously, that's a crazy number. Makes no sense. I get it. These are things like breathing. These are things like you're driving in a residential and a little red ball bounces in front of your car. So what do? You don't know this, but you take your foot off the gas pedal and you hover over the brake because what's coming next? Probably a child, right? So your body is always making these little micro decisions throughout the day, and you don't know that it's happening. Those are your program acting. Those are the bulk of those 30,000. 95% of those decisions are literally happening without your awareness. Remember, the program is the subconscious, and subconscious means below our awareness, subconscious. So, where am I going with this? If I am unaware of all of the ways that the programming that I have been installed with from age 0 to 7 and 7 to 14, remember the formative years, go back and check the episodes, but just remember, the body produces a new set of cells every 7 years. So 0 to 7, we're in theta. 7 to 14, we're in alpha. Those are brainwave states. Our bulk of our program, if not the entire program, is written during those formative years. They call them that for a reason. And from 14 on, we move from alpha to beta. Beta does not allow us to process data in a way that it's sticky. So the only way to change the programming and move beyond the PFC to the actual subconscious brain that is running the show is with massive, massive reps. So think about driving a car. Think about when you get good at driving a car, you don't think about where the hand goes, the foot brake, adjusting the pedals, what does reverse look like, look over the shoulder, like you just end up somewhere. For those of you, and this is not me, and I'm not condoning this, but have ever had a couple sips of alcohol too many, and you still chose to drove like a shithead, and then all of a sudden you ended up at your front door. And you might have been 45 minutes to an hour away from home when you decided to make that bad decision, but we've all been there where you literally like, how on earth did I even get here? Like how many lights you went through, the speed limits, the right turns, the left turns, probably scanning for cops whether you knew it or not, just trying to stay safe. Which, oh, by the way, your program has one job on this planet Earth, and it's to keep you alive. Not to make tons of money, bro. Not to get the hot wife. Not to, be jacked and shredded and drive the cool car. Your program could give two shits. Your program wants to keep you alive, and the step above that to avoid life-threatening things is to keep you safe. So your programming is always trying to keep you out of harm's way. That is all it cares about. So let's get back to the sentence. Your pressure exposes your programming. Pressure exposes your program. Knowing this, if we believe this to be true, first of all, let's think of a time real quick so we can kind of hammer this home. It's 2:00 in the morning. You hear some crazy noise. You hear someone trying to jimmy a window open, and all of a sudden you actually hear the window break. Right now you hear maybe the blinds shuffling around. You know someone has just broken into your castle, into your four walls. Wife doesn't have to tell you. You know what to do. Your job is to what? Is to protect that family at all costs. You got to get to the babies. You got to get the wife in a safe place. You have to diffuse the threat, whatever that looks like to you. Neutralize the threat. So obviously, like most of us go straight to what we think we would do, what our ego says we would do, right? Some of you have a gun by the bed. Some of you don't. Some of you don't know how to shoot a gun. Some of you don't believe in guns. Some of you have an exact plan of what that looks like and where to put the wife. Maybe you have a safe room, how to get to the kids before he does. Point being, we have this series of events we'd love to think that would play out. But again, that is an extreme amount of pressure, true or not true. We are under pressure to not die, but to make sure that our family, because we are the kings, we are there to protect, also does not die. So instantly your program is going to kick in. And you've heard this before, fight, flight, or freeze. And again, our ego says, I'm a fighter, bro. Like I'm this guy's like, he's threatening my family. I'm coming after him. Is game over. But sometimes we freeze. And that's our program. Sometimes we want to take off. Now, I don't think this is even possible for a grown man with a wife and babies to actually run from the situation and leave his wife and kids behind. So let's just play in the world of fight and freeze. Like, what would you do? Good answer. Then what would really happen? Well, we'd have to probably recreate this situation and see. And you might freeze up for just a certain period of time, but that could be enough time to cause some damage, right? Let's take it down a notch. Let's say someone's not coming into your house 2 a.m. threatening your family. Let's say you're at a fight. You're at a bar, and some dude picks a fight with you, and you've never really been much of a fighter. You're more of the talker, the lover, right? Like, you say, especially if all your boys are around, or especially if the missus is there, like you think, pride, ego, I'm hitting dude back in a heartbeat. Like, especially if dude puts hands on me, like if he's just running his mouth, I'm grown up enough, I'm man enough, I could diffuse the situation without putting hands on dude. But most of us, let's take it the next step. So he strikes you. So my man hits you first. Boom, ready, set, go. Pressure situation, pressure. You're under pressure to, step up and be a man. You're under pressure to protect your wife. You're under pressure to maybe show up a certain way so your friends don't talk about you for the rest of your life as some sissy. Whatever story you have in your head, your program is going to take over, not what you want to do, but what your program thinks is necessary to keep you safe so it can keep you alive. So that's an extreme situation. Let's talk about chronic stress, chronic pressure, which most of us find ourselves under. Again, if you're listening to this, the majority of my listeners are male entrepreneurs or, guys that have some semblance of control over their money. And because we, eat what we kill, we're always having to look for the next kill. And if you haven't figured out how to actually manage your finances accordingly, you find yourself in this constant wave of, there's not enough money for the month, right? There's too much month for my money, meaning I'm barely getting by. You can't really call it paycheck to paycheck, but it kind of is. Like for those of you, maybe you're in real estate, you got to close the next deal. Whatever your business is, you need to bring in more revenue every month to get to the next month and sustain this quality of life or try to grow it, etc. What I'm saying is you might not know this, but you may be creating conditions where you're constantly under pressure. And if you actually zoom out, we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you a 4-step framework that I absolutely love. It involves a cuss word, but that's okay. We're not going to really cuss. We're going to halfway cuss. And it's going to help you start to become what we call the observer. So one of the things we do inside of our containers, we train our guys how to become the observer of their life. And when I say that, I want you to think about actually hovering, like zooming out, like coming out of yourself, whether it's, ghost-like figure, spiritual, whatever it is, and you're literally hovering over yourself in real time in that moment while you're experiencing pressure. So sometimes you're zooming out for a week at a time and you're kind of watching your patterns day by day. And if you're not tracking everything that you're doing, it's hard to recognize week-long, month-long, year-long, and here we go, lifelong patterns. And for that reason, we stay in this self-sabotaging loop and we get further from Destination Island. But let's come back down to the real-time moment. Let's go bar fight. You just got punched in the face, and you're not really sure what the next move is, even though you think you're going to punch dude back. The question becomes, how do you show up in that moment? And what are you learning about yourself? Again, the number one word, my number one F word, my favorite F word, feedback. Like, what is the feedback? When you become the observer, you get to process data in a way that allows you to just take it in as feedback. So there's a rule here, and I think I've stated this on prior episodes, but I'll state it again. It's very important. Facts over feelings. Meaning, I'm not too concerned. I say facts over feelings. I used to say facts, not feelings. Like, don't even bring feelings in. They're relevant because we need to ascertain whether we like how we feel in that moment or not, so we can either, or so we can analyze the facts from a place of, well, I'm going to double down on that behavior because I like how I feel when those facts are in my life. Or I don't really like how I feel in that moment. There's scarcity, there's fear, there's shame, there's guilt. Well, what facts led to the feeling that you don't like? Cool. Let's change the facts because the facts we can control. Not, in hindsight, but when you teach yourself to become the observer, when I show you this game, you can take a breath for a second. You can pause and be like, wow, I have an option here. I have an option here to show up as a different version of me so I don't end up in those feelings that don't feel so good. Embarrassment. Remember, let's go back to the fight. You're about to get punched in the face. And, your typical reaction is to run like a girl. Sorry, bud. Fight, flight, or freeze. Your other reaction is you just freeze up. You cannot believe you got punched in the face, and you're really not sure how to react because you don't have the instinctive nature to hit back. 99% of my guys listening to this right now are like, that's not me. That's not me. I mean, we don't have to run a test where I punch you in the face, but, if you want to come hang out with me, we could both do it. You can punch me, I'll punch you. We'll see how it goes. Where am I going with this? You have an opportunity when you learn how to pause, hover, observe, and choose. This is the framework. I just kind of snuck it in right now. To basically decide how you choose to show up and what facts you get to import into that situation. So let's take another scenario where it makes a little more sense. Maybe one that's like more prevalent in your life. Like most of my guys listening to this are probably not avid drunkards and find themselves at a bar face to face with a fist fight. But this is a common one. Your wife, there's a conflict between you and the wife. Something she's said, something she's done live in the moment has triggered you, has got you like about to, again, remember the wifeys, they always know how to push our launch sequence. Like beep, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop, beep. Like he's going to lose his shit. I know it. I've been with him forever. I need a reaction from my man. So I'm going to go ahead and just trigger the heck out of him in the best way I know how. And then I know what he's going to do, right? Again, confirmation bias. I love that it's predictable. Even if I don't like the way my husband shows up when I push his launch sequence, what I like more is the fact that I know his launch sequence and I can get a rise out of him whenever I want. And that sounds like, I don't know, borderline psychotic behavior, but the reality is they love to know what's coming next, even if it's not the best thing in the world. So what I'm saying is, if you've been keeping track of, let's do this. Let's say you are rating your relationship, right? And you're like, you know what? We've got a level 7 marriage right now. And I don't want a level 7 marriage. I want a level 10. Now we outline what a level 10 marriage looks like. You're like, look, I want sex at least every other day. I want her to initiate twice a week. I want her to respect how hard I work. I want all these things. Obviously, there's going to be a long list of ways that you need to show up in order for those things to even kind of happen. And you start to realize, well, I want all of this from her, and she wants me to show up this way. And if I ever want to see these things, well, I'm going to have to show up a certain way, right? I'm going to have to carry myself different. I'm going to have to execute at a different level. I'm going to have to, let's go to this exact instance, not lose my shit every time she says something that I don't agree with or that offends me or that triggers me, bro. So it's happening. You're like, look, I want to go from 7 to 10, but this lady keeps pushing the sequence. Here's what you do. You know it's coming. You can feel it. You like have to get to a place where you can at least slow down time. And this is what you say. And you can say this under your breath. You can say it out loud. When this starts working for you, and it will, I encourage you to tell the wife you're gonna just take a walk real quick, right? And you're gonna fuck it, like fuck it, right? And I'm cussing, but I'm not cussing, and here's why. Like that's the sound, that's the noise, that's you sighing, rolling your eyes with your eyes closed like I'm doing now. But you're literally like, fuck, like here we go again. She's doing this, I'm about to show up like this, and when I fast forward and play chess, not checkers, and I go forward 3 or 4 steps, I know the outcome. and it's not the desired outcome. It's definitely not going to take me from a 7 to a 10 marriage. So as I kind of like drop my shoulders and be like, fuck, here we go again. Here we go. That little word, right? And I want to spell it a different way for you, so it's cussing, not cussing, even though you know I don't mind cussing. But when it's a full-blown framework, it's PHOC. And again, I snuck in the 4 steps earlier, but I'm going to give them to you now. So PHO. Oh, there's no K. Why did I throw K in there? It's PHOC, 4 steps. Pause. So can you pause in that moment? Can you get to a place where you become so aware of what's about to happen? This is leveling up your awareness, that you can pause real quick before you just react. Remember, you just got put under a lot of pressure. Something she said triggered you. Something she said makes you want to flip over a couch. Hope to God you don't hit a woman, but you might say some stupid shit, right? So you're about to react. She's about to expose your program. My program is, when you talk to me this way, I feel personally attacked, and so I come at you like this. That line in my program, that particular line of code, is keeping me stuck at a level 7 marriage and not getting to a level 10. That line of code, when triggered, I feel attacked, and so I hit back, is allowing for me not to have my wife initiate sex, is allowing for us not to connect on the level required to get to a level 10 marriage. Whatever it is, fill in the gap. What I'm saying is, you have an opportunity right now to say, this is not working for me. Pause. Hover, that's the H. Literally try to hover over the situation. You're going to do this in 2 different ways. You're going to hover over yourself and kind of figure out where she's coming from. Because if you're hovering over you, you're not looking at you yet. You're still looking at her. You're literally just come right up out of here. Boom. And you're looking at her. And you're trying to figure out and understand where she's coming from. Now, this is crucial because now we're playing the game of curiosity over judgment. Like, I'm curious why she's talking to me like this. I'm genuinely curious why she thinks she could talk to me like this. I'm really curious how we got here after 7-10 years where those words are still part of her vocabulary when she addresses me. I'm curious, is she wrestling with something else? Is there something else that's bothering her? And then all of a sudden, because this is her program, she's under pressure from work, from the kids, from her day-to-day. She's under pressure, and her program says to talk to me like this. But I'm more curious than I am going to judge her right now, right? So we're hovering over with a frame of curiosity. Next is we float around. We're a spirit now. We're the observer, and I go around to her side. And now I got the viewpoint of looking at me. It's as close as you can get to holding up a mirror in real time. How am I showing up right now? How am I about to show up? This is where you get to play chess, not checkers. So we paused, we hover and we look at her, we hover and we look at us. I can already tell I'm about to lose my shit. My posture looks aggressive. I'm boiling like I got steam coming out of my ears. And I know the next 3 steps because I've seen this program play out time and time again. She put me under pressure. Here comes my program. 3 steps forward. It ends up in a blowout. We don't talk for several hours. Sometimes we don't talk for 2 days, and we're like strangers in the night, just passing each other in the hallway. We're like roommates that barely high five. That doesn't lead to a level 10 marriage. So knowing this, knowing how I'm about to show up, trying to become more understanding on why she's showing up the way she is, right? I'm observing now. So we paused, hover, observe her posture, observe your posture, observe what happens typically in these moments, all the times that you've ran this thing back, right? So we paused, we hover, we observe, and now we get to choose. And it really is that simple, and this is where I lose guys a lot. We get to choose how we show up after that moment. So when you get good at this game and the wife triggers you and you know your program is about to be exposed and that line of your program doesn't support the destination, which is a level 10 marriage with your wife, you have an opportunity to pause, hover, observe how she's showing up, curious, not judgmental. Observe how you're showing up. You could do the same thing, curious, not judgmental. Again, why do I keep showing up like this? Why do I feel attacked by her? She's not attacking me. What does my wife want? She wants a level 10 marriage too. There's no way on earth if I asked your wife what she wants, she'd be like, I'm cool at a 7. 7's good with me. Like that's not a fact. That's not a reality. So what I'm saying is she wants a 10, you want a 10. If we keep showing up this way and colliding, we stay at a 7 at best. So I can judge her for the way she's talking to me, or I could be curious if she wants a 10, why does she keep showing up like this? Because it's causing me to show up like this. So here's the best way to pattern interrupt the whole thing. You have to show up different. If you've seen my band right here, I have three-letter phrases. I literally have to tell myself this multiple times a day, and I've been playing this game for 6.5 years. These are the three. Show up different, do hard shit, and experience my experience. Now, we don't got time to get into all those. They're probably a separate episode on their own. At the time of recording this, I haven't made an episode on those, but show up different is actually the first one for a reason. At any moment, you have the power of free will, of choice to show up different. You don't have to lose your shit. You don't have to fly off the handle. You don't have to talk to her in a way because you feel attacked. Because how dare she? You could show up in a way that if you do it consistently over time, it's not going to work round one. So here's what you can't do. You can't run the PHOC frame, PHOC. You can't be like, pause, hover, observe, both sides, choose how to show up. So when you choose to show up different, like, so old you flies off the handle, new you is like, babe, I hear you. I don't appreciate it when you talk to me that way, but I also know that coming at you with an aggressive tone right now is not going to serve either of us and what we ultimately want, which is a stronger marriage. I'm going to go take a walk, and I'm going to try to process this. Is there any information that you think I need or would benefit me as I go and try to process why you're coming at me this way and how you feel? And she might say, yeah, mother effer, there's tons of stuff to process like this. And she might just hit you with more shit because she's not going to own, well, you know what? I am having a bad day. Like 99% of the time, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, you can't have an expectation that because you chose to show up different in that moment, that she's just going to fall in line and show up different as well. The way to play this game is to continue to show up different over and over because it will force her. Mark my words, it happens every time. I have guys that come to my event, my 2.5-day live, and we do work. Like they literally go home a different version of themselves. So what I'm saying is the first 30 to 60 days when they go home, they're showing up so different that they start to get frustrated because they can't believe that this new version of them is still being treated the same way, sometimes more aggressively, by the way. Because again, your wife has a program. That program wants to keep her safe. You know it's not safe and why it's difficult to make change once you hit, again, 14 and on? Your program is formed 0 to 14, and because it wants to keep you safe, it absolutely fears, it is mortified of one word, and that's change. So my man comes to an event. We get him into a theta state. We start to get in there with a scalpel and figure out all the areas that he's showing up on based on his programming. We get in there. We do a lot of work. We do about 6 months worth of work in 2.5 days. He goes home. He starts to walk, talk. Energy's different. Like I'll show you text after text of like wives saying like most of the time thank you, but wifey doesn't believe this new version. So this is a dude that's showing up different for weeks, and he still can't get her to like acknowledge this change. You're going to do it once in live in the moment. You're going to walk it out. You're going to take a walk. You're going to go breathe. You're going to ask powerful questions to get her to a place where she truly feels seen, loved, and heard. Because by the way, man, that's all they want. That's all any human being wants. I want to be fully seen, fully heard, and fully loved. And they don't feel that way when you're attacking them. Even if they attacked you first, knock it off, you sissy. So you pause, hover, observe, choose. I choose to show up different. I'm not going to let you activate my launch sequence. I'm taking a quick walk. If and when you come back from that walk, she will likely not be in any different mood, any different frame, and you will be. You have done a little, you breathe a little bit. You really thought about this from different scenarios. You took the judgment hat off and you went to curiosity. You maybe thought of some powerful questions. And by the way, hit me up. I'll give you those powerful questions because there's about 3 or 4 that you always want to hit on. And all of a sudden, you're going to diffuse the threat. She's not going to be as threatened when you come back in, but she's going to be nowhere near the state of mind that you're in. And then you have another opportunity to possibly go apeshit because you can't believe that you chose to walk away, process the data, come back to her, ask her powerful questions, put your arm around her, make her feel fully seen, fully heard, fully loved, and she's still not acting the way that you feel she should be acting. So you have just make sure, I want to caveat this because I got a lot of dudes that'll go home and try this PHOC frame, PHOC, and then like sometimes the woman will actually test you and she will actually push harder. So you're going to go do all the things that you should be doing, so stick with it, please, it works. And you're going to come back and she might actually be a little more worked up because sometimes that change not only scares her program because it's like, who is this new dude? But sometimes she sees it as a threat because now she's like, well, if he's changing, and I totally see what he just did, and I agree with it, and this is like a next level to our relationship, I better keep up. And I don't know if I'm ready to keep up. I don't know if I could just do what he just did. So as a result, I'm so threatened by this new behavior and the way my man's showing up, I'm going to actually hit harder. And I'm going to push the launch sequence again and again and again and again because I know him. I'm going to wait for the other shoe to drop. He read a book. He watched a podcast. He learned a thing. I see you. But I also know you. And I've been with you for X amount of years. The funniest thing I got to remind dudes, some guys come to me, they're in their first 2 years of marriage, right? But a lot of guys are like 10 years, 15 years. I'm 28 years deep, right? So you and I didn't learn these tools until 6 years ago. So you're all these years deep, and you really think you're going to come to some 2-day event or you're going to watch some 40-minute podcast and you're going to try this new pause, hover, observe, choose, pause, hover, observe, choose. I'm showing up different, babe. You know what I'm saying? This is not easy for me. I want to react. I feel attacked. I can actually feel this visceral, guttural reaction when you come at me that way, but I'm choosing to show up different. By the way, this is another version of doing hard shit. It's hard. It's hard not to just hit back when you feel hit. You know this. You're going to feel this. Trust me. What I'm saying is, when are you going to listen to me? When are you going to see all this work I'm doing? When are you going to learn that we're at a 7? I'm trying to go to a 10, but I got to come. You got to come with me. I'm willing to go all the way to the 20-yard line. Like, I'm going to run 80 yards, but I need you to step out of the end zone. And you can't have that expectation. And the main thing I'll tell you is, another sentence that I had to like repeat a lot when it came to wifey when I was doing work was, it's not her story. It's not her time. It's not her journey. Pick any of those or all of them, right? It's not her story, man. This is my story that I'm trying to unpack and I'm trying to deal with. Right? It's not her time. She's going to figure out on her timeline when it makes sense for her to recognize how I'm showing up and then show up different herself. Now, I can keep communicating with her. We can communicate as a unit, maybe what a level 10 marriage looks like I talked about earlier. And as a result, when she sees me working towards that 10, she'll be more inclined to show up different to work at that 10 as well. Because a lot of times, maybe you're just not communicating what the heck you want in that marriage. And maybe you're communicating what you want, but y'all haven't sat down and done the work and figured out on a whiteboard, on a piece of paper, ready, set, go. Here's the fun one. What does a level 10 marriage look like? Because you guys are going to have differences. For the most part, they'll be very similar in terms of like how you want each other to show up and so on. But there's going to be some details, and those are going to be crucial details. And oh, by the way, cheat codes for you when you figure out what she wants. But the reality is getting her on board with change so you guys can attack this together. Because again, pressure exposes your program. Well, pressure exposes her program. Her program wants to keep her safe. My man is changing. Change is not safe. Here's why. The devil I know, even if you get aggressive and you flip over couches and you mother F her, don't do it, knock it off. But what I'm saying is, the devil I know is far less frightening than the devil I don't. So even though in theory, I don't appreciate the way that my man comes at me when I attack him, this is just what I'm used to. And there's comfort to that confirmation bias. You've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. Human beings are the only organism on this entire planet that would rather be right than actually win. And I'll run that back, so think about it for a second. Human beings literally cling like desperately to the need to be right. This is why confirmation bias is so strong, than actually win. There's women that stay in abusive relationships because the abuse is predictable. And us on the outside can't figure it out because a win for her looks like loving herself enough, respecting herself enough to stand up for herself and leave that abusive relationship to find a relationship that literally checks all the boxes and makes her the happiest woman on the planet Earth. But she won't leave it because that's predictable. And the devil I know is far less frightening than the devil I don't. And I don't know what's out there. And I have a man right now. And I don't want to be lonely. And I don't want to find someone that's worse than this. And because I don't know, and this is comfortable, and every time I push the sequence, he reacts in a certain way, so I'm right. I knew he was abusive. I knew he flips over couches. I knew he cusses me out once in a while, but he's my man. So, pressure exposes your program. I'm going to leave you with this second point. I'm going to try and keep this... still recording? I don't know. I'm going to try and keep this timely, but check this out. If we agree that pressure exposes our programming, and we also agree the more I know about my program, the better chance I have of reprogramming, right? Changing my program in a way where it's no longer in conflict. Matter of fact, it supports Destination Island. My challenge to you is this. Throughout your week, throughout your day, depending on when you're listening to this, I want you to think of at least 2 to 3 ways that you can manufacture healthy pressure. If I know that pressure exposes my program, and the more I expose my program, the more likely I am to see patterns that either serve me or don't serve me, so I can double down on them or get rid of them, well, I think I could play the game a little better and consistently create conditions to expose my own programming. Now, this scares most men. When guys see the highlights of my events, they run. And I don't got time for that. I don't have time for them. Like I could not put those highlights out. I could just talk about the money wins. All my guys, make more money. Cool. I could talk about all the shit that guys think that they want, the blueprints, the hacks. I'll give it all to you. I give it away all the time because I'm doing it to expose your program. If you come to me and say, Nick, I want an 8-figure blueprint. How did you build 2 8-figure companies? Cool. Here's exactly how I did it. Here's the LLC formation. Here's how I went in solopreneur land. Here's where I hired my first team of 3. Then I went to 8. Then once I got to 8, I reverse engineered. Like, well, if I can do 8, I could do 16. Oh, shit, 1 location's down. If I could do 1 location, I could do 2. Next thing you know, I have 23 locations. 23 locations, 8-figure company. Off of really simple formulas. You can have it all. I'll give it to you. DM me, text me. I don't know where people watch this shit. I'll give it to you because, here's the caveat. You have to set an alarm 90 days from the day that I send it to you that just says, hit up Nick and check in. See how you're doing. Because I know where you should be on that blueprint in 90 days. And the sad fact is 99% of y'all, don't get offended, don't get triggered, bro. You won't be anywhere near where you're supposed to be by day 90. Now, some of you in your ego right now is saying, you don't know me, son. I execute. I'm high level. I crush shit. No one's got my work ethic. You got to be kidding me. I'm a killer. I'm a hustler. Cool. You also have a program. And your program doesn't support building 8 figures unless you're listening to this and you're already above and beyond 8 figures. If you've been stuck at 5, 6, or 7 figures for multiple years, it's not the blueprint I hand you. It won't matter. It's your program. So the reason I give that away and my encouragement to you is, how can you create conditions that expose your programming? It's okay. And the other caveat to this too is, make sure, this is like cart before the horse to some degree, so I'm hesitant to do this. The first thing I want you to recognize about your programming is your talk track. Because if you are constantly running in a loop, right? As a result of your talk track, you have this loop that's running that supports or promotes shame or guilt, then this could be a dangerous exercise. Because exposing your program is about one word. That's it. Feedback. What am I learning about myself? When I show up this way, this happens, and I'm not a good leader, as good a leader as I thought I was, so I can't build a team. As a result, I wear all the hats, and I have this thing called critical mass, which means I can only do so much in a day, a week, a month, a year, and so for that reason, my business is stuck at this revenue number. And I have a story that says when I let shit go, nobody can do it as good as me. So every time I've tried to hire somebody, it doesn't get done right, and I got to either micromanagement or take it back and do it myself. So I'm just going to stay in hustler mode, and it's going to literally, I'm at critical mass. This is the dollar amount. Well, what if the story is I'm not the leader that I thought I was, and maybe going out and hiring 3 more people and seeing that they're not doing what you need them to do at the level you need them to do it at is going to expose that. Why not? But what you can't do is have shame or guilt around the fact that you're not the leader that you thought you were. It's just feedback. And feedback is what? It's facts over feelings. So the feedback is I hired 3 people. They were extremely skilled in the areas that I needed them to the seats that I needed them to sit in and get to work. They have all the data to back that up. I didn't create the right culture. I didn't empower them. By the way, there's a huge, huge, huge difference between delegate and empower. I didn't empower them. I didn't give her the tools. I didn't tell them what I expect. So how can I ever inspect what I expect? You know what? I'm not a good leader. I'm not a great leader. I'm not the leader required to build an 8-figure company. And I got to sit with that for a second. Sit with that and be like, it's just feedback, man. Those are facts. The facts are you didn't do beep, beep, and beep. So you're not going to get boop. Those are facts, man. So 2 ways, maybe 3, that you can manufacture healthy pressure. Put yourself under pressure, practice, pause, hover, observe, and choose. Become the observer and be like, holy shit, man, I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm really good at starting projects, but I'm not good at finishing them. I love to lean on this ADD card, but that's bullshit. What's really happening is I have a dopamine addiction. It's very unhealthy. I like to scroll on my phone when shit gets crazy because that's instant dopamine. You know what I also do? When I'm having a crazy busy day, I sometimes escape by scrolling, right? Or I reach for sugar. Sugar is another one. Why on earth, when shit doesn't go my way, within 1 hour, I'm grabbing sugar all the time? And because I'm depleting my dopamine, I have a dopaminergic response to certain things, and sugar and social media are two of the killers. The third one, you know what it is. It's Pornhub, gentlemen. What I'm saying is I'm noticing things about myself that are stopping me from showing up as the leader required to build the 8-figure thing. So I can go to the mastermind and get the thing. I could go see Nick and get his 8-figure blueprint, have it all, and I'm not going to execute. And that's okay. Ish, right? It's okay because I'm already ahead of everybody out there because I'm recognizing, remember, pattern recognition, pattern interrupt, and pattern creation, right? I'm recognizing the patterns in my programming. I'm program recognition. I'm going to interrupt these patterns so they don't happen anymore. I'm going to become the leader. I'm going to get better at empowering versus delegating. I'm going to get better at just hiring because I thought these 3 people were qualified, but then I reverse back more and look at more facts. I hover some more. I do the PHOC frame, I process more feedback, and the facts are, I don't really have a solid system for hiring. Oh shit, no big deal, no shame, no guilt. I'm not down on myself, I'm not shitty, I'm human. These are facts, no feelings, facts. I could beat this to death. I think I just went in some crazy loop right there. You see how I'm just really passionate about this because I'm telling you right now, I've built a lot of cool things, I've helped a lot of people build a lot of cool things, and the answer is never the framework. It's never, not never, 90-something% of the time, it's not, I'm kind of sick. It's not the business plan. You know this. It's what? It's the businessman that's in his own way. So that's the episode. Pressure exposes your program. You know this now. How can you manufacture healthy pressure so you can expose your program, so you can learn about your program, see where it's in conflict, so you can finally arrive at destination island, so you can stop drifting, so you can let things, stop letting things like social media, sugar, and Pornhub, right, drift you away, carry those sails, hit you with the wrong current, and then you wake up in 10 years and you're like, holy shit, this is not the life that I thought that I was going to build. I'm X amount of years old. It's New Year's Eve. I look the same. My bank account's the same. My relationship's still a 7. It's not a 10. I'm not connected enough with my babies. I can't get past this revenue marker. What's happening? What's happening? Let me get another book. Let me meet another dude. Let me hire another thing. Let me get that guru. He'll get me through this. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, to the point where come hang out. Like, I want to teach you this game from a place where you don't need me anymore. And that's like, I guess, cardinal sin. Like, I got mentors. I got a marketing team that's like, bro, it's called LTV, lifetime value. You're supposed to keep these people forever. And as long as you're adding value to their life, they'll keep paying you. I'm like, well, what if I just teach them everything I know under the sun and then they can go do it on their own? And then my only ask is just go tell a couple people. If I helped like get you back on track to Destination Island, and then I showed you how to never let the wind in the sails go the wrong way, only push you there. Because once your program supports your destination, now that wind hits the sails and you're going faster. And the current can't stop you. And no season, no hurricane, no nothing can rock that boat. It's game over. 95% of your life is your program. If you get that 95% to get in alignment with your assignment, to get to Destination Island, it's a wrap. All that. All right, I'm done. This episode's probably way too long. I love you guys. This is Feedback. I'm Nick Alfano. Peace outside.